Good morning, good morning, good morning. We'll be starting in a few minutes, as you can see by the timer. Today I just want to tell you about some exciting stuff that's happening with the Brothers of Legacy. We have opened up a membership program, and if you click the link that's right at the bottom, boom, you can be a part of that. We got a lot of background stuff we want to share with you guys, a lot of projects that we got going on, and just the full direction of the Brothers of Legacy, and we want you to be a part of that. So we have opened up a membership. We have different levels, and it gives you an opportunity to invest in Brothers of Legacy, while at the same time learning about what we are learning to do as well. So you can really be a part of this journey. So within that, you'll be part of our Facebook group. You'll get some apparel. You'll have an opportunity to be on screen with us during Freestyle Fridays. It is a plethora of things that are possible just being a part of this membership, and it's growing. So as we grow, you get to grow with us. So before we get started, before we join, make sure you go to that link, hit the link, and within that minute, sign up, be a part. And of course, we're going to give you a shout out for everyone that joins, and be a part of this growth, because it is important that you guys are part of this journey. It's not just about us, it's about you going in the direction that God has set us to go in. So again, hit that link, be a part, and we appreciate you. We are coming into our next season. This is season 2. We have come out of the breaks, and we are now ready to enjoy another all of the stuff that's happening around the world, politically, in our communities and things of that nature. So these conversations are going to be taken up a notch. So be a part of that. So we appreciate you as well. All right, let's get into it. Let's enjoy the show. That's it. So we'll see you on the inside. Take care. What up? What up? What up? Space is out.
What it do?
Eating good, sir.
What up, Ephraim?
You all right, man?
Let me move this back over here so I can
It's Car Lady Lisa V.
look at the screen. All right. Good morning, Mama Corey.
My camera not at all right now.
Good morning, Mama Corey.
Good morning, Sports Car Lady Cheryl in the building. Lisa, blessings to you, my friend. Good morning, V. Good morning. Whew, another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. I have my man Dwayne Goodson to my left, right, and below we got my brother Ephraim. He is always our guest in the building. Actually, he's fam. He can go in the refrigerator, get what he needs.
Oh,
Without asking.
absolutely. he got a key.
Right. It's big when you got the key, like, brother, just let yourself in. I'm tired of getting up. I know you have to go.
Real tough.
All right, let's see. Oh, so we're gonna have an interesting conversation today. Funny how we're moving. We talked about kind of child support yesterday, and that conversation got kind of deep. Let's see. Let me move that. So today we're talking about, don't you hate when you meant to hit paste and you hit copy? Hold on. Let's the struggle. All right. Here we go. So we're talking about toxic masculinity, the Me Too, and manhood. All right. So you guys hang tight. Make sure you share, tag somebody that I know you want in this conversation. Because I'm sure everyone has an opinion on a lot of this stuff. All right, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. I didn't want to catch that. Morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another episode. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What's up, everybody? All right. All right, let's get into it. Um, so real quick, I appreciate you guys rocking with us and hanging with us and sharing with us and being a part of this broadcast. I do not take it, or none of us take it for granted, because we know there's a plethora of things that you could be watching right now.
Absolutely.
So much what you hear rocking with us. So I want to welcome you to the Brothers of Legacy broadcast. Your first time in the building, say hi. Let us know your name and where you're from, as well as make sure you share. Sharing is caring. So I know we've heard this term, toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity. So my first thing is, how do you guys define it for yourself, toxic masculinity?
I'm a believer, so I get my definition of manhood with the biblical foundation. I put it that way, right?
Okay.
So for me, anything toxic would be anything contrary to what my foundation is.
Okay.
Right. So anything like society. One of my favorite rappers, Andre 3000, told me if my woman get out of control, that I was the candy apple of her eye, and I shouldn't get bit, and I should throw her against the wall. Tell her never to disrespect me, never, not at all. As good as the rhyme as that is, and
Right.
best, that goes anti to what I've been taught. I don't have to choke my wife to show that I'm a man. So anything that's contrary, I would put in that toxic kind of, and we pump that stuff to the kids. We pump it, and they think they're not a man if they don't have three females, a wife, a girlfriend, a mistress. And they ain't got money. They are less of a man.
Real talk, sir. Real talk.
Right. Hey, Pastor. Good morning to you, sir.
Morning, Pastor.
Morning. Look, all I know is I came in on throw her up against the wall.
Hey, let me explain.
No, don't explain now. Don't explain now.
I was like, oh, wait, hold on. I gotta go.
Hey, look,
I don't know what's happening in this conversation.
When Pastor walked in, when he came in, all I heard his expression.
Right.
He heard Ephraim say, "Throw against the wall," and his expression went, "Dun."
I had some stuff working, man. I had some stuff working. I'm like, look, I gotta get offline and go see my wife. I'll be back. baby.
Oh, good morning, Ashley.
Oh,
Says
what's up,
conversation yummy. Mr. Chris says toxic masculinity is that a new cologne from Macy's.
Hey, Chris.
You're right. They would sell it though. You're right.
Look.
You're right.
If they can get away with it, yes.
All you need is the right person to promote it.
Right.
That's it. 100,000, baby.
No, you might could get Lil Wayne up in there.
Oh man. So how would you define it, Dwayne?
I never really thought about defining it until today, other than what the words actually represent. But Ephraim's definition was amazing. And the only thing that I would add to that is you got to remember the word toxic means something that's poison to whatever it's introduced to.
Right.
So toxic masculinity for me, if I had to define it, I would say that it's poison introduced to what manhood is supposed to be. And I agree with Ephraim's definition on a man. But when you think of a man, you think of the covering for the family. You think of the head of the family. Yeah. You think of the provider. You think of emotional supporter too. So anything that is introduced to that state that brings any type of poisoning. So when Jesus said, hey, okay, one man, one woman, if it's more than that, then it's toxic. If Jesus said to love your wife like Christ loved the church and you're not loving your wife that way, then it's toxic. So some toxicity exists because we don't know, and some toxicity exists because we embrace it. Right. Sometimes we walk into toxicity and we don't find our way out of it. But any poison to the image of what a man's supposed to be.
Yeah, That's good.
Okay.
And if I could just say something real quick, even what Dwayne was saying, with the ignorance, like he was saying, sometimes we do things because we just don't know it,
Right.
and that can be saved, unsaved. That's just learning. There's a preacher I know who has to be close to 70 or something, and every time I see him, he's opening the door for his wife. He's getting the car door open for her. He like almost like as if she couldn't do it for herself. You know what I mean? And it's just like I was looking at that one day. And I just got my wife getting in the car with like 3 Bibles, a bag, the kids. I'm like, wait a minute, you know what I mean? And I love her now. I do love her, but it's just like you always keep seeing examples of how you could take it up to another level. Right. I serve at my local church. I serve my pastor, and I think I do okay. Then you go somewhere else and see something else they're doing. Like, wait a minute, I can step my game up even more. So it's always constantly finding ways that. Maybe not to redefine your definition, but to strengthen your definition. Maybe that's how I want to say that. So
I guess an improvement.
Yeah, an improvement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my definition expound because my lid got raised, so I can now see there's another level to go. So I agree with what Dwayne's saying.
Right. Go ahead, Pastor. How would you?
Oh no, I'm loving all of it, man. It's funny. I have a reputation of being hard. But my reputation is being hard on men. And I always preface that with, because I feel like we're playing catch up.
Yeah.
So we don't have time to mess around. We've got to go straight to the jugular, straight to the vein with the information. So I'm hard on men. And I think most of it is because I didn't have that example.
Right.
So I echo everything, every sentiment that has been expressed thus far from Terrell and even from Dwayne. Terrell, I've shared that same story with people about my wife. You just described what I do, opening doors and all of that. My wife does not pump gas, all of those things, to the point to where she's spoiled. If she used to go to work when she worked in an office years ago and would go to lunch with someone and be sitting in the car on the passenger side and everybody else has gotten out of the car. And she waiting for somebody to open her door.
Look, you ain't came over here yet.
Right. Like, your husband ain't here.
Hey, look, she looking at you like, what, doors open themselves now?
Yeah.
You must got me that new feature.
Yeah, man. And the thing is, you if you don't, the Bible says treat your woman as the weaker vessel. So it's not that she's incapable. It's just you go beyond the measure to let her know you don't have to do that.
That's good.
Right. Not that you can't do it, but I'm better suited to do it. So let me handle what I'm better suited for.
Please allow me to serve you, dear.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at that. I'm glad you unpacked that scripture that way.
Yeah. They don't hear it that way though. They don't receive it that way. But that's
Yeah, they want to talk about intellectually weak and every other type of weak.
Right.
Yeah.
Dave Canyon said, I've had male friends who I've had to let go in the last 2 years. They are depleted. They take my energy that I was willing to give them, but they're not interested in replenishing. They deplete me and leave me nothing for the rest of the day or night. So I had to let them go. They're also toxic in other ways that you were discussing too. At the age of 57, I've had to make better choices on it. Understand that. Said, I like your wife. That's admirable. What up, Cole? Good morning, brother.
Hey, Cole.
It's a from in the building.
Yes, sir.
So, but I will say, kind of like how we talked about fathers, the good, great, and what's how defining them. I think like what Ephraim said, you notice certain things. You're like, you know what, I need to, you get around. The best thing about getting around great dudes is like, oh man, I need to level up.
Yeah.
I need to get better. But it's you're not in the toxic range. You're taking care of business. You just like, I'm gonna challenge myself to be even better than I was. Like you're not bad. You're not a horrible husband. I want to reach another level. I don't want to just be in this game. I want to be Michael Jordan of husbandry. And
I'm glad you're talking like that, AD, because it reminds me of something that I always like to share with people. We assign value and weight to superlatives. And for those of you that don't get what I'm saying, that good, better, and best, That's not a God thing. That's a man thing. And I think we mess ourselves up sometimes with that good, better, and best.
Right.
Because
Right.
good is the top of the line. You got to understand that. Now, like that's one that you really have to you have to pull back and unpack that. Good represents the top of the line. Just think about it. The word best existed and the word better existed in the English language when the Bible was translated from the Greek and the original Hebrew. But you look at every single copy of it, the translations and the transliterations, when you go back to the very beginning, and God created this. And what did God say?
Yep.
It was good. He didn't say this was better. This is the best. No, good. So you got to understand what the word good means. Good means that it's operating the way that it was purposed to operate. Period. Nothing else, nothing more.
Right.
So when you're a man, what is a man supposed to operate like? So you either a good man and you're operating the way God purposed you to, or you're not.
Right.
There's no men, Pastor, and I think I'm okay. I think Pastor, if I'm not okay sharing this, stop me at any point. Me and Pastor was having a conversation off camera, and Pastor said that, you know, sometimes people say, "Oh, well, Brian or Pastor, man, you're such an awesome, wonderful, great father."
Right.
And he was like, "No, I'm just a father.
Right.
I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
I'm doing something different than you have to do."
Right.
So you look at me and you say, "Oh, you just going." No, he said, "I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do."
Right.
So you have good, and then you have man adding better and best, because we see things like, "Oh, well, Brian is working 40 hours a week and all the bills are paid and nobody hungry. He's a good man."
Right.
AD, he just made 2 million last year, and he changed Sam's zip code. So
Right.
he's a better man.
Right.
And
right.
Ephraim, he done changed his wife's zip code. Now she's a doctor, and his son just got accepted into Harvard. Oh, he's the
Right.
best example of. No, we see that's toxic. That's the first introduction of toxic right there.
Right.
Making you compare yourself. See, it's not about the comparison.
Right.
It's about the maturation process. And that's where we get mixed up at. Yeah, there's some things that we don't do, right? There's some things that we haven't learned. But is that because we haven't got to that point in maturation process, or is that because we're choosing not to be?
Right.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's great. No, that's right. It makes I don't know if for some reason I'm feeling like Dwayne wasn't on with us yesterday.
I wasn't. I had a migraine.
Yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't.
All right.
But that's good. That's good. Oh, he said, Cole John said, Dave, spitting the fire. I totally agree with you, man. Have to protect the energy in my life.
Yeah.
I kept reading this. I don't get it, but maybe you guys will. I shiver every time
I think he's thinking about I think he's thinking about the toxic relationship.
Oh, okay.
I believe.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Cole.
Man, right.
Yeah.
It worked the way it was designed. Wow. Let's see. We only have so much as we get older. We may have less. It's a precious commodity. I get talking about time and their own securities, V said. So with that and having that understanding, that's deep. I just kind of like, this is helpful, because a lot of times you sometimes you find, and even in a lot of things, you compare yourselves, when certain things in front of you, you compare where you are to somebody else. You not even if you jealous or striving, but you like, man, what am I doing? Why are they here? Or you look at the kids like, why that kid is there and I can't get my kid to go here, and things of that nature. And, you try not to beat yourself up over it, but it sits in your mind. It's like,
it really does.
It sits in your mind. But that understanding that you're good, because you're handling your business, you can only do what God has given you to do, and you just do what you got to do, and just stay in the space where God has placed you, you know, staying prayed up and all of the great things that God has told you to do, and you just handle your business. So I think that man, that got to marinate on that one, because that was good.
There's a great book, and his name escapes me. I want to say it's Ralph McGee, but it's Search for Significance, and he talks about this performance trap and how we kind of get caught up in that.
Right.
And I think AD, we fall into what you're talking about. Well, for me, when I started looking on like Instagram, you know, when you see the visuals and you see what seems like your counterpart or your peers, when it seems like they're winning, you know, so when they paid all their bills and you paid all your bills, but then they went to Cabo, it's like, wait a minute, I didn't go to Cabo. I must not be doing good because they doing great. But like, just kind of reminding yourself, because with those thoughts, you got to check yourself, you know, and you got to check yourself fast. I don't fault anybody for feeling the way if you feel away, you feel away. I get that, but check yourself. Like, wait a minute. Like I think I shared that with AD one time. There's a guy who I went to school with, and we have a small city back home, and he became the mayor of that city. And when I saw it, instead of like hitting like a like or congratulating, I said, "Oh man,
that could have been. I could have been that.
I could be a mayor. I can go be like the alderman in College Park or something. Let me slide over. Like, I have no aspect. That's what happened with some of our presidents. They just ran because they felt like you could run. They just ran because they, like, I heard Michelle Obama say, with as many as votes as she knows she would get, that she's not trying to go into office just because she's popular. Like, and that's the same thing I fell into. I instantly went from never thinking about running for mayor to want to run for mayor because of coming out. Just like that, you know, I'm being real. I'm dead serious. I was thinking about it for about 5 minutes, but I had to check myself. I have no interest in that. I would be
that's a trap. E, look, that's the trap though, because look, and brothers, this is why counseling is important, because I didn't realize what I just said until a counseling session. I was sitting with a counselor, and the way you started out your definition for toxic masculinity, right? Mm-hmm. I think most Christians will say that answer, and in our heart we believe it. Right. But we then go from the way God says what masculinity is supposed to be to, oh shoot, my boy just made mayor. Hold on. I know. I was smarter than him. I was more articulate than him. People like me better. I know. That's the trap. That's the trap. And the counselor told me, he was like, "Hey, look," he was like, "You letting your Christianity get the best of you." And he's a Christian, and he's a Christian. And this is his word. So check him out now. Because at first I'm like, hold on now. I'm finna give you a Mike Tyson uppercut. You keep talking like that. And he was like, you've gotten in your mind that you're so messed up because of Christian culture. Right. He was like, what I want you to do is take a step back. Right. And he was like, now when you do this, yes, it upsets God. Yes, you have to now pay for this. But how does God really see it? Right. He was like, is God going to easily forgive you for this? Right. Is God going to give you the means to fix this and to correct this? He was like, absolutely. He was like, all that extra stuff is what you're bringing in from the Christian culture, saying that, oh, you're the dirtiest scum in the world, and that's why you feel like this. He was like, but that's not the way God sees it. And he was like, sometimes you got to pull back and look at it exactly the way God sees it. Nothing less, nothing more.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
Let's see. V says, when you constantly look at what others accomplish, they don't understand that everyone has their own journey. Yours isn't the same as someone else's. Richard said, if you make mayor, you can shape your community. Like, I don't really want that job though. I don't really want that job. I really want that job. But that's not toxic. If you thought about being a mayor, it's natural and okay to think you could do something that one of your peers is doing. It's toxic to hate or resent him for being the mayor.
Right. It's the stuff that comes with it. It's the stuff that comes with it.
Yeah, because I didn't look at it and say, oh, well, I can do the job. I start breaking him down in my head and saying, well, if he, who I know did this and does that, you know,
I surely can do this.
Come on, I can do it. I mean, that boy felt home ec. I can do this.
Look, we can go ahead and be real. You might not have done that, but I'll tell you what I've done. I've sat back and looked at dudes, and I was like, man, I remember that dude. I seen him smoke crack on the corner.
What is he doing? Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and this what
and even in healthy ways too. There's
right.
Okay, let's say you're a church, a nonprofit. I don't want to force you in a box. And let's say you look at somebody across the street and say, man, they got a great rehabilitation program. And then you in a community that don't have that kind of problem. You don't have a drug problem in your community.
Right.
Nobody in your community can read, but because they got a great community that has a drug, you want to be that. So now you offering something to the community, looking at somebody else that they don't even need. So that's all I'm saying. I get it. Sometimes, like they say, the pictures is worth 1,000 words. Those images are super strong. And you see those things, it's like, man, I want to be that. Because sometimes with these pictures, without words, it can make you look like you winning, man. And when that man was sitting there with them big scissors and that red rope and getting there, and they all man, he looked like he was winning, man. I say, I can do that. I can do that. But it don't make him no better than me. It don't make me no less of a man. I got my circle that love me, but I'm just being real about the feeling that came up to me. And I mean, 5 minutes was a long 5 minutes. I struggled that thing though. I got to looking on Google. I'm telling you,
what does it take to be mayor?
What applications? And I don't care for that, man. I might like the title, but I'll be through. I wouldn't be no good for nobody's city. So it's
especially a little one.
Yeah, come on, man. Boy, that a $50,000 budget, and I'm sweating that. Come on, man. Come on. So it's more power to him.
No doubt. Okay, he said right on money. VAD, go for it. I don't know about that. Dave says he probably wishes he was talented enough to be a podcaster, right? Or have some buddies he could hang with and relax on every morning at 9 p.m.
I like that.
That's real. Dave is on point today. The saying goes, comparison is a thief of joy. Many males have that I want to be like Mike syndrome that permeates through their lives, right? His thanks, we have the ability to change our situation if that's what we want. True. So with kind of shifting a little bit, we talk about toxic masculinity, kind of looking at other people's lane syndrome. How do you guys feel about kind of like the Me Too movement now, in reference to it, because it can be so broad, as far as some of the old things that people have done that is coming up now, that people are like losing their careers and things like that. Now, I'm not talking about anything like some forced sexual assault, like the crimes and things of that nature.
So you're not talking about Bill Cosby and Russell Simmons?
Yeah, not like the drugs or something like that, but more or less
shots fired.
More or less.
Hey, we got it. Look, we can't look. Thank you, Pastor, but we can't tiptoe no more. We got to just be direct, right?
Go right forward. Good morning, Cheryl. Good morning, Cheryl. Oh, more or less. I don't know why I can't remember his name, but it's the senator that was a comedian, and he got caught with a picture like he had something or put his hands on the lady's breast while she was like sleeping or something like that. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. What is his name? The little white guy with the square glasses.
Yeah. And he stepped down. I think he didn't get fired, or, I think he just stepped down because of the Al Franken.
That's it.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. With like the mafia glasses. Oh, that's what he did?
Yeah.
I didn't know what he did.
So I want to kind of pull it back in a sense where we know what the culture was like back in the day, even in the 90s, it's kind of like the boys club, how this is how it is kind of situation. Cause that's what women kind of had to deal with, like, just how it is, and when you're in the situation, even being black back in probably the 60s, just like this, how it is, we just got to deal with it kind of thing. Yeah. Do you feel like some may get a bad rep when a woman may be complicit? And what I mean by going back to the Al Franken video, she was asleep, or it looked like she was asleep, right? Her eyes were closed. Let's just say her eyes were open, right? And the picture was taken. If she is agreeing upon it, then would he be in the same situation. You know what I'm saying? It's
Absolutely
that the
not.
consensual kind of thing. I'm wondering some, with certain situations, are they consensual? There's
It gets
regret, and now it looks like Me Too.
it gets tricky because like it changes. Like, okay,
Yeah.
let's say she was consensual. Let's
Right.
say you the CEO and
Right.
you and your secretary, y'all consensual.
Right.
It's okay between y'all, but it's still wrong because it creates an environment of harassment. Because somebody else, after seeing the CEO and the secretary do what they do, is going to think it's okay for them to do. And now, we have an environment of harassment between those two consenting adults.
Right.
Maybe it's cool that you got to take that over. Are they married? And that's morale and stuff. But just some of the Me Too, it brought out some of the harassment that's going on throughout entire corporations. All the Fox News.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're not just seeing individuals, we're seeing cultures and environment where women are coming in. Some of it's consensual and some of it's not. I do think women need to take the blame for share the blame for their part in it. But men, I think, own the brunt of it. It has to all stop, consensual or not. At least don't let it happen at the job.
Right.
I don't know what happened to hotels. I don't know what happened. Like why does it have to happen there?
Right.
But
I feel you. Right. Gentlemen.
It's Me Too is not touchy. It's not touchy to me. But there's levels and layers.
Right.
And the premise I 100% am okay with. The hidden agendas which could exist, the what do we call it? What do we call the women movement, the women's movement, the women's empowerment movement,
women's liberation.
Women liberation. That's now some of the things that they preach, I don't agree with. But as far as the fair treatment, the equal treatment, the abuse of power type things, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
And I will caution any man in power, because I've been a man in a position that seemingly had power, but when you look at the grand scheme of things, it didn't have that much power.
Right.
But I was even able to get over and abuse that power, and I was wrong.
Right.
Just like anybody else who takes that power. Now, we do things because we can.
Right.
And when it gets accepted in our minds, it's okay. But when we look at the entire situation, it's a combination of what society has said is the norm, what society has said is acceptable right now.
Right.
And what generally happens is years later, when society says that's no longer acceptable, there's no grandfather clause. You getting it. Right. I mean, and it doesn't make it right, but I'm okay with it, because I'm a firm believer, and regardless of who you are, what position you hold, you got to be able to cash the check that you write.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you slip some Jesus juice in somebody's drink, that's on you. It's a seed planted. So don't be upset when that seed come up.
Right.
If you coercing chicks into getting booty just because you in charge, and you know they're gonna probably not say no because they feel like they might lose their job, or they could get a promotion, and you know that they might think that way, and if that's the purpose behind you doing what you do, then yeah, you really got you. If you pay for that, I'm not mad at it.
Right.
Yeah. Like, do they really feel they're gonna lose their job though? Like, is that the pressure that they under? Like, give me some, or you gone? Can we
be being honest here?
Yeah.
And this is 15 years old. It made me look like a butthole, but hey, it is what it is. I won't call no names because I'm still friends with a lot of people, and a lot of people who I've trained over the years. But when I was an intel analyst instructor for the military, there was a moment about a year and a half that I was a single man as an instructor, and I was handsome, and I was way younger than all of my coworkers, and I was great at what I did, and I had a personality that people liked, and I used that because there was a lot of cute young girls that was coming through. Look, I was 26 at the time, and you telling me I got 20-year-old girls in the room looking at me, and they ain't studying none of the dudes in the classroom with them. Because here's the thing about the Army: when you outrank somebody, women look at you slightly different. They don't look at the private the same.
On that.
Look, they don't look at that private the same way they look at that staff sergeant. So not only am I a staff sergeant and I got privates in my classroom, I'm in charge of the classroom. When I walk through the hallways, people at parade rest. When I walk into a room, they jump up on their feet and they stand at parade rest. So I use that authority.
Gotcha.
As I didn't. It's not like I was using it, but I understood that.
Yeah.
The underlying reasons was they saw me on a level different than the men that they were in class with. I abused that, and if I would have got caught, you know what? Absolutely deserved it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me read these comments, Pastor. I feel like you got something to throw out there. The scariest aspect about any movement that turns national in scope is that you begin to peel ulterior motives with the good cause. The Me Too movement is no exception.
Yeah.
Cheryl says perception is reality in the world system. All right. Dave said, wait 1 second, though. There are women who have known that like being treated like one of the guys. They don't want to be patted on the butt, but they like the interactions verbally and all that. I never know until they tell me and make it easy for me to proceed. I never make any first move with a woman. I'm always the most polite until they give me a solid indication that I don't have to be that polite. Right. Said the way it's put the games, and that's transparency for you. There you go. Hey, Michelle. Yes.
It's a different day, man. You better be sure.
Yeah. Dave said he never makes the first move, man.
Really?
They say he got to be sure, Pastor.
He said, "Look, he said he's not.
You got to be
that
sure.
polite when he don't have to be that polite."
Yeah. You know, I can repent of ways when I used to, you know. Well, let me say it like this. I ain't gonna be as transparent as Dwayne. I got open cases out here. I can't do it. But like, okay, men can do this. We can do better with how we treat young girls. We know young girls have been what we would call easy action. We use them because we think we outsmart them. You know, we can play games on them. You know, we use coolness, rank, money. You know, because in college, all you gotta do is have an apartment and a car, and you are the man. Trust me. All right. So like, it's a lot we do, but I'm asking, women don't own any of this. The system is messed up. Let me officially say, men have messed this thing up. We have been crazy with our power. But I'm just saying, women don't own none of this, any aspect of it. It is not okay to abuse. I'm not talking about the extreme cases of pills and drugging and that exists. And I'm telling you, it is wrong. I'm talking the casual. You know, they don't own none of that. None of the misleading stuff. None of the short skirts. None of the cleavage. None of that.
All right. I mean, and this is kind of why I really want to have this conversation because, you know, like someone was trying to put the Monica Lewinsky, oh gosh, what is that? Oh, race out Ephraim avoiding cases. Gotcha. What you gonna call it?
Lewinsky.
Like Dave said, you know, power is enticing, power and high rank is sexy. Women love that. They seem to enjoy celebrity, asking athlete, professional athlete. You know, and they was trying to put the Monica Lewinsky, Bill Clinton thing in the Me Too movement, and I was like, no,
I don't know about that.
Nah, I feel like, you know.
Here, let me say this. The greatest part about, you know, one of the greatest lessons I learned in studying scripture is context.
Yes.
Right. When I logged on this morning to BOL, I heard a statement from Terrell. Right. Statement captured me.
Right.
But I didn't hear the before.
Right.
So I got so context is critical.
Yes.
So when you think about, you know, the Monica Lewinsky thing, you know, we got the information we were exposed to.
Right. That's true.
Right. So we were victims of context, ignorance, right? So I think that, when you study scripture, you got to know what comes before, you got to know what comes after, so that you can understand the context of what's being expressed to you. And I think that's the same thing that happens here when you talk about what happens in an office space or, at home or whatever the case might be. Right. Dave said something. It might be okay. Dave, says, when a woman lets me know that it's okay to not be that polite.
Right.
What if you're joking around and somebody comes in and sees you and they walk away with the wrong context?
Right.
And those are the things that we have to be careful of. The other thing was, I don't know who was it that said it. If you let's see here, I think it was dealing with the power. Dave said power is enticing. I'll never forget, over 20 years ago, I was talking to a leader, and I was growing. I was evolving as a leader. I was getting my first appointment, and he said, I don't want to tell you that I'm concerned about you. He said, I'm concerned about what you get exposed to.
Yeah.
Because sometimes your exposures change your behavior. Right.
Facts. That's big fact.
Right.
And so what we cannot allow ourselves to do is become victims of what we've been exposed to, because it will take you out of character. Right. That's that whole, the peer pressure and all that kind of stuff. I tell my children, just because everybody's doing it doesn't make it right. Even if you're the only one doing it, it doesn't make you wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are the things that we have to consider. And a lot of it, if you don't know the Lord, you got to use common sense. But I thank God for the scripture that teaches us what temperance is, right? Self-control. So those are the things that we have to consider. And these are the things that we try to teach our children. But the reality is we've all made these mistakes. I want to go back to something that you said. You said earlier, you used the comedian Al Franken as an example. And I'll say that I think we've all had those experiences, knowing and unknowingly.
Right.
Yep.
You've done something that crossed a line and no one ever told you because of complicit behavior.
Right.
But what they did is they went and talked about you when you left the room.
Yes, they did.
Right. So, and the other part is, the Me Too movement, the stuff that happened years ago and now people are paying the price. Well, listen, don't we know in the scripture that what you do in the dark is going to come? Be sure your sins will find you out, is what the Bible says. Right. So the laws of the land
reap.
Say it again.
Whatever I said, and God is not marked. Whatever a man sowed, that will he also reap.
Right.
Absolutely. So you have to be careful how you treat people, and that's always. But again, we know better, we do better.
Right.
And so, AD, I think you asked the question, well, is it fair to have to pay the consequences this far down the line, this much later?
Right.
Well, it depends on the impact of the behavior.
Yeah.
Right. There's a consequence, there's a cause and effect for everything. So let us be mindful of our behavior at all times. We're not perfect. We make mistakes, but again, when you know better, you do better. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the Me Too movement, but I will say somebody else also said that people can manipulate. Every movement has manipulation.
Right.
Yeah.
True. Right. True. So the Me Too movement has manipulators in it. How many men, good men, Dwayne, have fallen victim to manipulation and seduction?
Way too many.
Right.
Yeah.
Only to have it come back and exploit them, and they pay the penalty.
Right. Yeah.
And vice versa, right?
Right.
Men using their power and their influence, not just trying to force someone, but because you think you're wiser and you want to kind of entice them into. I mean, all of that is seduction, man. And there's a consequence. There's a penalty for all of that behavior.
Right.
So I have nothing against the Me Too movement any more than I have against Black Lives Matter.
Facts.
Right.
Facts.
Right. But there are manipulators in every movement.
That is true.
So you have to be wise. You have to be careful. That's what I love about God. God will let you know when you have a relationship with God, and you walk into a room, God will point out the snakes.
True.
Have the women who have come into office. Okay, the women who play on the weak men, and I'm not trying to take the blame from the man being weak, But do they own any of that? They
Okay,
know that you know good. Oh, go ahead, D.
Hold on. So y'all marinate on that question. I'm gonna do a semi freestyle ad break. Coming up this Monday. We have the Couples Jeopardy. So it's going to be an amazing show, on Purpose for Forever every Monday at 8. So we're having Couple Jeopardy. So make sure you tune in. If you're not already following me, make sure you follow. Check it out. If you're on Facebook, go to Purpose for Forever. Make sure you like the page so you get the notification. So this Monday at 8 p.m. All right. That's it. That's all.
Hey, look, real quick, AD, that ad that you just put up there.
Yes, sir.
I'm probably gonna get in trouble for saying this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Did Stevie J get saved?
You said who?
Did Stevie J get saved?
Is that who that was?
Did that look like Stevie J in the middle of the picture?
With the purple.
Oh,
Besides your wife, E.
I don't know who was that. Mike.
Oh, yes, Mike. That's Mike.
Who in the purple? Who was that in the purple?
That's my man Matt. He's a counselor. He was on the Brothers to Talk podcast. Yeah.
Tell him, come on, man. My wife don't play by that Jeopardy, man.
Oh man,
be competitive.
Listen, very much so. So ask your question again, E.
Okay, the woman who preys on the weak man, not excusing the man, does she own any part of this culture?
Cool.
The one who comes in knows the old man likes to see cleavage, and she comes in on purpose with it. Then she asks for her vacation time.
Of course,
does she own any of this to the culture, or is it his fault because he's weak?
Not in the Me Too movement. In the Me Too, from what I've seen, let me, because I don't want to offend anybody with saying the wrong thing. Let's make no mistake. Men can be extremely stupid.
Yes.
Now, you could ask any man face to face, you find whatever he's not attracted to and ask him, hey, if nobody found out, would you? And he gonna be like, nah, bro, nah, But I done seen too many of us do things with people that we aren't attracted to when you reach that point and you gotta have something. Case in point, I said it with Bill Cosby. The only reason that I was a little hesitant, like, yeah, Bill need to be in jail, because when I looked at the first woman, and this is me, once again, this is a transparent moment for me.
Watch it.
No, I'm going there. I can't. I got to speak my truth. I got to speak my truth. This is just me being truthful in Dwayne Goodson's own way, right?
Yes.
All right.
When I saw the woman that they put as the headliner for the reason Bill Cosby need to be in jail, first thing I did is I looked at her and I looked at Camille. And I was like, ain't no way. I was like, no, she lying. And then I thought about it. I remember some drunken nights at the end of the night when I was a young man.
Yeah.
And my standard slipped.
Wow.
And I was like, well, the parking lot's empty. Ain't nobody around.
Look a mess.
Wait,
right.
Look,
hot mess.
There's a Volkswagen Beetle over there.
Oh no.
Right. But ain't nobody around to see that because the parking lot was empty.
Help him out.
But here's the thing. I had a chick tell me one time. She said, I know I'm not your type, but I still got what I wanted, didn't I? That was her words to me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna use her words and let them echo. Yes, some of them may not be your type, but they got what they wanted too. It's a two-way street.
Yeah. It is. And when you are preying on people, preying, you're not preying on the top of the food chain. You're preying on the vulnerable.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the reality. In most cases, you're preying on the vulnerable. You're looking for the low-hanging fruit. And that's why a Bill Cosby issue could happen.
Yeah.
That's why it can happen.
Yeah.
Because, predators look for the ones who they don't feel like will take it all the way there.
Absolutely.
That's just that's human nature. You know, you've got to be, there has to be something, and there's something broken inside of you that will have you to act in such a way anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, anybody who wants to take advantage of a person unnecessarily, you know, there's something broken, and you've got to seek some counsel, get some healing. That's just the truth. And I'm not speaking from what I've heard. I'm speaking from what I've lived.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. When your confidence is low, you are also vulnerable to making serious mistakes.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Right.
Y'all remember Zach Thomas?
Yeah.
Throwback.
Linebacker for the Dolphins.
Man, one of my favorite players. I went to Rondé Gadsden's camp, and I got to meet him, and he was teaching me techniques.
Right.
And I was just like excited. It was my, big idol. Some time later, ran across Zach Thomas on South Beach, and out there with the homies hanging, and we asked Zach what he was doing, and he said, "I'm out here looking for one young lady with low self-esteem." And unsaved E took his idol's words and said, "Well, that's a good idea. Maybe I too, Zach, should look for one young lady with low self-esteem." And it shaped a good part of my my youth. I wasn't saved, but I took that, and like Pastor was saying, I wasn't looking for the finest girl in the club. I was looking for low self-esteem. And years later, I come to find out that pretty ain't got nothing to do with self-esteem.
Right.
Some very pretty young ladies have very low self-esteem.
Right.
And I started becoming attracted to I mean, I still like hips, but hips and low self-esteem. So I was looking for those combinations, and it until I got saved, I didn't see it any different. So I'm kind of agreeing with Pastor saying that's what we're looking for. And you got people with this low self-esteem and insecurities, and all this plays out.
And
I was teasing Dave earlier on with the L, but not only am I the president of Hair Club for Men,
I'm the VP.
Reminded me of myself.
Yeah.
When I was young, I did not know what I was carrying.
Yeah.
As a young man. I really didn't. And so people took advantage of that, of me.
Right.
I had women take advantage of me when I was young because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was carrying. And that's a lot of it. We have gifts inside of us, hips and low self-esteem. That's funny.
Right.
We have gifts inside of us, and you have favor on your life, and people will rob you because of your favor.
Come on, man.
Right.
That's good.
You understand? And that's what, one thing I say to men, I'm a father of 4 daughters.
Right.
So I look back on my life as a young man and my interaction with women, and I'm like, man, I have to raise 4 daughters.
Right.
Who have to deal with men.
Right.
As fathers, we have to raise sons that have to deal with women. What's the truth about what you really want out of your children?
Right.
Right. Because you said, be not deceived. God is not mocked, for whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. We have to be careful that we don't reap through our children.
Right. Right.
That's, that when the thing is, you watch, I have 4 daughters. I have 2 adult daughters and I'm a grandfather. I have 5 grandchildren. I have heard things as my daughters were coming of age. I heard stories that made me want to go commit murder.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I had Jesus.
Right.
And I'm like, Jesus, you blessed me to own guns. Right. So I'm if there's anything to take away from this, I think what we always want people to walk away with is opportunity to grow, opportunity to evolve. That's why we're here. We can laugh and joke and all of that kind of stuff, but we have to be mindful of our behavior because we don't know how it's coming back around.
Yep.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
You can plant seed that grows weed.
Right.
And it looks the part.
Right. Well,
until it's out of hand.
Yeah, comparisons kill, right? We were talking about that. I want to be like Mike and all that kind of stuff. You know, you think about that just real quick. I thought about labels. I thought about commercials. You know, the social media is the biggest trick in the book.
Yes, sir.
Because everybody gives you their best. They give you the commercial.
Right.
You know, oh, wow, they hanging out in Malibu. I could hang out in Malibu. Yeah, but you don't realize they don't have a home to go back to.
Right.
Come on.
Right. That's the reality. You know, oh, look at him and all those women. Yeah, but you don't know he got a wife at home.
Yeah.
You know, we see the label. The label makes you want to be a part of it. The commercial makes you want to be a part of it. But you haven't counted up the cost. So you know, when this whole Me Too movement and all that kind of peace be still, peace of still, yeah, right. That's where I was. But, you know, but what I've learned is that the best thing that I could do is teach my children so that they don't make ignorant mistakes. They make dumb mistakes. Because there's a difference, right? You make ignorant mistakes because you don't have the right information. Dumb mistake is you knew better.
Yeah.
And you did it anyway.
And just bringing a little comedy relief to what you said, I remember that those statements from Katie B. Goodson when I was about 12, 13 years old. When I did, she was like, okay, you didn't know no better. I'm gonna go easy on you. Don't do it no more. Oh, you just being stupid out here. Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's kind of how life is.
It is, man. That's you know better, you do better.
Cole Johnson said,
I'm guilty. I've carried those. I got that badge. I got that button. Thank God for Jesus.
Right, exactly. Cole Johnson said hips and lower self-esteem. That's a hip-hop album titled Waiting to Be Done. Reddit Shaw said that's the realest thing I've ever heard a man say.
I think he was talking
about the hips and low self-esteem. Dave said, yes, she did. Toxic trace that. He said, but it's okay as long as you were kidding. He said, peace be still, peace of still, as Medea said, and I said, have a terrific Thursday. So yeah, that's it's crazy what we learn, you know, from other men, you know, when we're around the not so healthy vision of relationships and things of that nature, and how we should be dealing with our women and things of that nature as well. And I feel like we have, you know, as men have gotten better or more aware of our actions. I think, you know, coming forward, you know, coming into even 2010 going forward, you know, we are more aware of the things we do, you know, and how we respond. And I feel what you're saying about the power. Like when you have a position, you know, it attracts. And it can be an abuse. At the same time, you know, if you're in a position, sometimes it can attract the wrong. It can attract everybody. You know, it has to take us, I guess, to take the responsibility of saying no. You know, say no means no. You know, and staying away from those things that's gonna detract us from our purpose. I mean, it's like David. You know, he was the king. He had this thing rocking. He had a relationship. He was rolling, but strolling at night. You know, looking over. You know, he just stepped out of bounds. You know, he moved into a place that wasn't where he wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah. Walk in your regality. Walk in your kingship.
Yes.
You know, that's the thing. Men and women. Right. You know, because royalty is not defined by your sex, right? Your sexual makeup. Royalty is character. Royalty is culture. So walk in your kingship. You know, laugh the loudest and laugh the hardest. You know, be where you're supposed to be. Mean what you say what you mean. You know, be that example. I mean, we fall down, but we get up. I know it's an old statement. It's an adage, but it's real.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
When you know better, you do better. All those things are truths that help us, that mold us into being more effective in all that we do. But again, you know, I think it was Dwayne, you said it earlier, you know, and E, you talked about it too. You know, being toxic is being the opposite of what we were purposed to do. Anything that is the opposite of what we were purposed to do, that is considered toxicity.
Yeah.
So just we have to be careful not to do those things. But I think that a lot of our messaging is designed to enhance the current generation, but to set the stage for the next generation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Responsibility.
Because 20 years from now, we don't want another Me Too movement.
Right.
That's it. And we
20
play
years
part
from
of
now, we
that.
don't want another Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
You know, so our hope is that somebody can take these little nuggets and learn to walk in your kingship. You know, the greatest thing about David was not that he defeated Goliath. The greatest thing about David is that he overcame David.
Got it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. That's the thing. One of the things I learned about David, we talked about the comparisons. David is the same one who said, these weapons have not been tried by me.
Right.
I can't be like him with these things because that's not what I do well.
Come
Right.
on.
Yeah.
Let me use what I got.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
so be comfortable
In
doing
your
you,
own-
and comparisons will never kill you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the reality. And yeah, you can be Mayor E if you want to. You know,
We got you. We got
do
you.
it in a different city.
Yeah.
Right? I got a guy. I got the same story, man. I got a homeboy back in Kankakee who helped the first Black mayor become mayor in our city. Female. She just became mayor a couple of years ago, and we all celebrated with her. And he helped her run, and now he wants to run against her.
Wow.
And he just announced this a couple of weeks ago. He's like, I think it's my time now. So he wants to run in the same city he helped her become mayor. He wants to run for mayor on the Republican ticket.
Wow.
Now, listen, great dude.
Right.
He's a coach, did the right thing, made his mistakes, but he has been such a great community leader. You know, director of parks and recreation, coaching one of the high schools, sending boys to college and to the NFL. You know, he's put. I think I can count at least 3 guys that he's put in the NFL from coaching.
Wow.
Fantastic dude, man. Fantastic dude. But he saw something on somebody else.
Right. Right.
And instead of just being a part of that team and helping her get better, he wants to use himself and his reputation to replace her.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, is it right or is it wrong? Context is key.
Context is key.
Yeah.
Context is key. You know,
That's
But
the
I'm
word right
glad
there.
you said that. But because I just want to reiterate, maybe I haven't put it out there to reiterate it, but I want to state that we have to understand that none of us are immune to this life. No man is immune to this life. Every one of us have or are gonna face the same things, maybe in different ways, different spaces, maybe different times in our life, but we're gonna face the same thing.
Right.
Hey, you look at David. We saw what David looked like when he faced it. Look at Samson. We saw what Samson looked like when he faced it. Look at Solomon and all the women. We saw what he looked like when he faced it. But
Right.
look at Joseph. Joseph was put in the same situation.
Right.
The difference is we have to be better versions of ourselves. We have to understand our purpose. We have to understand the image we're supposed to walk in. And when we do that, you take that person and put in a situation. That's where changes come. Changes doesn't come with time.
Right.
I was having a heated debate with a few younger males from younger generations talking about how life is different and how they're different than we are. I was like, at least when our generation was coming up, we was rapping about being dope dealers or whatever. I was like, y'all rapping about being J's and smoking the dope and doing the dope now. I was like, that's a difference. But then I stopped and God hit me with something that stung. And I think it needs to be said. We criticize the generation that's coming behind us. But generations are no more than what they were taught and what they see.
Yeah.
So we can sit here and be self-righteous
Yeah.
all day long and talk about how all y'all do is shoot each other up and kill each other.
Right.
Y'all don't fight no more. You're quick to pull a gun, or y'all popping mollies, just smoking this, and you're shooting this up. But they saw it somewhere. So, Pastor, when you just said what you said, it was the perfect timing, because we have to be better, or the generation that's coming behind us, if we don't change our thought process and realize what we have to do to make them better, to better equip them, then our grandchildren are going to live lives even worse than what we live, at least the environment that they're going to be in. So we got to put some of our pride to the side and fix some of these issues and reach back with some of these young cats and like, hey, I see where you're going. We missed it here and here and here, but let's fix this.
Yeah.
Instead we're talking at.
Yeah. It's crazy because I don't know about you guys. I mean, you know, my parents weren't really into the music I listened to, of course. And, you know, every now and then I'm riding in the car and I get a little nostalgic and I start listening. And then I start really analyzing the lyrics from an adult perspective. And you're like, wow. Ooh.
But what's interesting is to hear Dwayne say, we come from, I want to be a dope dealer.
Right.
And I'm 10 years before you guys, because 10 years earlier, that's not what we were rapping about.
That's true.
We were just saying no.
Right. Just saying no.
We were saying no to drugs, to becoming drug dealers, becoming drug users.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Because before we was about protecting the streets and protecting our neighborhoods and, you know, being a little more proactive and social, but it just shifted. Shifted.
Was it Ronald Isley who sung Who's That Lady?
Who's that lady?
So it went from Who's That Lady to Sexual Healing to Hey Mr. DJ, Honey Love to I Want to Know,
right, to
Are You Gonna Pop That?
Right.
Now to drop it like it's hot.
Right. Oh man. All right. So we're gonna get out of here, guys. We appreciate you guys rocking with us and hanging with us every day, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. We appreciate Ephraim for rocking with us as well. Our guest family member, the cousin that comes through. But man, this was a great conversation. And I feel blessed just to be a part of it. You know, this is God's focus, and God's has placed us and given us an opportunity to be here and share this with you guys. So, you know, the credit is all to God, because without him, we wouldn't have this. You know, he's the foundation for us to getting better, as well as being able to share and be very transparent. Like you have a few cases out there, you can't mention everything. But we aim to definitely share what we've been going through, what we've been through, and even some of the current stuff that we're dealing with. So appreciate you guys. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. As always, know that we love you, but God loves you more. Continue to wear those masks because you need to stay safe. Keep your 6 feet. And that's it. And tomorrow we're gonna continue. We're gonna continue our game that we started. I've been meaning to doing it throughout the week, but these conversations have been getting heavy. So we're gonna. I would say, dang, I ain't got mine with me. I'm odd man out. All right, guys.
You got to keep a shooter in the corner, AD.
Right. All right, guys. We'll see you in the morning. Let's see. Where's it at? I didn't want to catch that. Good morning. Welcome to another. Good morning, everybody.